ahimsa shantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यम् आत्मा विनिग्रह इंद्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहंकार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःख दोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिस्वंगा पुत्रदार गृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टापत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्याभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यत् अतोऽन्यथा
One person per verse. One verse per verse.
ahimsa shantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham स्थैर्यमात्मा विनिग्रह इंद्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहंकार एव च जन्म मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुःख दोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिस्वंगा पुत्रदार गृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्याभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् हरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यत् अतोऽन्यथा अमानित्वम् humility, adambitvam pridelessness, ahimsa non-violence, shanti tolerance, arjavam simplicity, acharya upasanam approaching a bona fide spiritual master, shaucham cleanliness, stairyam steadfastness, atma vinigraha self-control, indriyartheshu in the matter of the senses, vairagyam renunciation, anahankara being without false egoism, eva certainly, cha also, janma of birth, mrityu death, jara old age, vyadhi and disease, dukkha of the distress, dosha the fault, Anudarshanam, observing. Asakti, being without attachment. Anabhisvanga, being without association. Putra, for son. Dara, wife. Griha adishu, home, etc. Nityam, constant. Cha, also. Samachittatvam, equilibrium. Ishta, the desirable. Anishta, and undesirable. Upapattishu, having obtained. Mai, unto me. Cha, also. Ananya yogena, by unalloyed devotional service. Bhakti, devotion. Avyabhicharini, without any break. Vivikta, to solitary. Desha, places. Sevitvam, aspiring. Arati, being without attachment. Jana samsadi, to people in general. Adhyatma, pertaining to the self. Jnana, in knowledge. Nityatvam, constancy. Tattva Gyan, of knowledge of the truth. Artha, for the object. Darshanam, philosophy. Etat, all this. Jnanam, knowledge. Iti, thus. Proptam, declared. Ajnanam, ignorance. Yat, that which. Atah, from this. Anyatha, other. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these are declared to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So it's a long purport, and I believe Mataji, you've suggested we read from cleanliness onwards, or should we read the whole purport? Read up to cleanliness? End of cleanliness. Okay. Purport. This process of knowledge is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent men as being the interaction of the field of activity. But actually this is the real process of knowledge. If one accepts this process, then the possibility of approaching the absolute truth exists. This is not the interaction of the 24 elements as described before. This is actually the means to get out of the entanglement of those elements. The embodied soul is entrapped by the body, which is a casing made of the 24 elements, and the process of knowledge as described here is the means to get out of it. Of all the descriptions of the process of knowledge, the most important point is described in the first line of the 11th verse, Mai chananya yogena bhaktir avya vicharini. The process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So if one does not approach or is not able to approach the transcendental service of the Lord, then the other 19 items are of no particular value. But if one takes to devotional service in full Krishna consciousness, the other 19 items automatically develop within him. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yasyastir Bhaktir Bhagavati Akinchana Sarver Gunes Tatra Samasute Sura. All the good qualities of knowledge develop in one who has attained the stage of devotional service. The principle of accepting a spiritual master as mentioned in the 8th verse is essential. Even for one who takes to devotional service, it is most important. Transcendental life begins when one accepts a bona fide spiritual master. The Supreme Personality of God Sri Krishna clearly states here that this process of knowledge is the actual path. Anything speculated beyond this is nonsense. As for the knowledge outlined here, the items may be analyzed as follows. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others. But from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, one who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor or dishonor pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception. People are very anxious to be famous for their religion, and consequently, sometimes it is found that without understanding the principles of religion, one enters into some group which is not actually following religious principles and then wants to advertise himself as a religious mentor. As for actual advancement in spiritual science, one should have a test to see how far he is progressing. He can judge by these items. Non-violence is generally taken to mean not killing or destroying the body, but actually non-violence means not to put others into distress. People in general are trapped by ignorance in the material concept of life, and they perpetually suffer material pains. So unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. One should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people so that they may become enlightened and leave this material entanglement. That is non-violence. Tolerance means that one should be practiced to bear insult and dishonor from others. If one is engaged in the advancement of spiritual knowledge, there will be so many insults and much dishonor from others. This is expected because material nature is so constituted. Even a boy like Prahlad, who only 5 years old was engaged in the cultivation of spiritual knowledge, was endangered when his father became antagonistic to his devotion. The father tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlad tolerated him. So there may be many impediments to making advancement in spiritual knowledge, but we should be tolerant and continue our progress with determination. Simplicity means that without diplomacy, one should be so straightforward that he can disclose the real truth even to an enemy. As for acceptance of the spiritual master, that is essential, because without the instruction of a bona fide spiritual master, one cannot progress in the spiritual science. One should approach the spiritual master with all humility and offer him all services so that he will be pleased to bestow his blessings upon the disciple. Because a bona fide spiritual master is a representative of Krishna, if he bestows any blessings upon his disciple, that will make the disciple immediately advanced without the disciples following the regulative principles. Or the regulative principles will be easier for one who has served the spiritual master without reservation. Cleanliness is essential for making advancement in spiritual life. There are two kinds of cleanliness, external and internal. External cleanliness means taking a bath, but for internal cleanliness one has to think of Krishna always and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This process cleans the accumulated dust of past karma from the mind. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatamini. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, sincerely seeking blessings from all the Vaishnavas present. This is a very, very deep series of verses. And Srila Prabhupada is saying this is a good way to check what's going on within us. So I thought I had to speak on cleanliness. I kind of misunderstood what was related to me. Yes, so I prepared something on cleanliness, which is the last point which we discussed in the purport. But something comes about humility, and there's a very, very amazing statement by Srila Prabhupada, where he says that humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. That's a tough one. In Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Sharanagati, there are 6 points to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Anukulya sasankalpa pratikulya savarjanam Akshishyati vishvaso gopatridve varnam tatha atmanikshepa karpanya shadvida sharanagati. And that is doing things which is favorable for Krishna consciousness. Anukulya sasankalpa pratikulya savarjanam is to reject those things which are unfavorable for our Krishna consciousness. Always accepting Krishna as the maintainer, that he will always protect. And Atma Nivedanam, always revealing our heart to him. And humility, Dainya. But in his wonderful composition Sharanagati, he starts with Dainya first. It's a very, very important quality to approach the Lord. So over here also the first point which the Lord is mentioning is humility. So one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. And non-violence is, there's another amazing, very dynamic understanding of non-violence. Srila Prabhupada is saying that one should try his best to distribute real knowledge to the people so that they may become enlightened and leave this material entanglement. That is non-violence. It's very, very amazing, very pleasing. And there's tolerance, that is one of the first quality of a Brahmana, the Brahmanical platform. Tolerance is essential in this material world. Simplicity, and then we'll come to cleanliness. That's what I prepared for. So there is a very famous proverb, cleanliness is next to godliness. And Srila Prabhupada is mentioning there's external cleanliness and internal cleanliness. Externally, the ideal is to keep ourselves clean by taking a bath. For sannyasis, it's recommended 3 times a day. Or grihasthas 2 times a day, like that. So, and even in some scriptures it is said that a daily bath cleanses the sinful reactions. So bath is essential. But the real question comes of internal cleanliness. And Srila Prabhupada is saying the best way to keep ourselves clean is Chetodarpana Marjana, always chanting Hare Krishna. In fact, I believe he says always chanting Hare Krishna. Always. But for internal cleanliness, one has to think of Krishna always and chant. This process cleans the accumulated dust of past karma from the mind. Maharaj Parikshit mentions of this bath which is taken, and he compares it. It's actually about atonement or purification. The elephant also takes a bath, but immediately he smears mud and dust all over his body. So the process is very powerful because it's coming directly from the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we are supremely fortunate to have Srila Prabhupada giving this process so amazingly, so beautifully. So it works, everything is wonderful, but what is stopping me from making factual advancement? There is cleansing taking place, but again the dust is going in. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions, says expertise in Nam Bhajan means one is very careful about avoiding the 10 offences of the holy name. Even in Jaiva Dharma, the people, the characters who are the devotees who are chanting the holy name, they are receiving the results very quickly because they are on the Niraparad platform. So you can work very seriously with these 10 offenses. And the amazing thing is, it's just not about these 10 offenses. Aparad is of four kinds, which we learn in Bhajan Rahasya. There are 4 kinds of aparads. So mainly we stress on Nam aparad, and that's the 10 offenses. But there are 3 other aparads. There is Seva aparad, those who are engaged in worshipping the deity. There are 32 offenses, plus Varaha Puran mentions more. Then there is Tadiya aparad, aparad related to things, aparad related to, there is Tadiya to Krishna, related to Krishna, like Ganga Devi, Tulsi Devi. One has to be careful about making aparad to that which is very closely related to Krishna. And the 4th one is Jiva aparad. That is offense to all living entities. So as we know, there are 84 lakh species, and everywhere the Paramatma is residing, in all entities. Even in an ant, a cockroach, a lizard, insect. So the holy name is not pleased when we make these offenses. And to sum it all up, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in one song, Krishnera samsara karo chhadi anachar, Jeev daya Krishna naam sarva dharma sar. Make Krishna the center of your life. Krishnera samsara karo chhadi anachar. You give up this bad behavior, anachar. Jeev daya, have compassion for all living entities. And Krishna Naam. This is the essence of all the scriptures. This is the essence of Dharma. Jeev Daya and Krishna Naam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also in Chaitanya Bhagavat says, he sums it up, saying, I'm ready to deliver that person very soon. One who does not criticize anybody and is always chanting Hare Krishna. So the process is very simple. But we are, because of not having a culture, that's why so many offenses are made. So that's why to be in the association of serious, sincere devotees, this is very helpful. And also actually watching Srila Prabhupada's videos, because we see culture in action of Mahabhagavat. Actually, just watching him is very extremely purifying. The way he does so many wonderful things, hearing his lectures. And this point keeps coming across. Srila Prabhupada keeps talking about this Jiva Aparad. We are talking in Sanskrit, Jiva Aparad, but Srila Prabhupada keeps talking about offense to the living entities, how one has to be careful. So when we take care of just these 2 things, it's quite simple. Simple for the simple. That no offense to any living entity. Not just Vaishnavas. We have to upgrade it. Undoubtedly Vaishnava Aparad, all these, the 10 offenses are there, but we have to come to that platform. And no living entity. And that's where actually Jeev Daya starts manifesting. So we don't do offenses, but what is the positive? The positive is Srila Prabhupada is mentioning as non-violence. There is actually giving them this transcendental knowledge, giving them the greatest gift, the gift of the holy name. And that is done. This is very wonderful. I believe it was Prakashananda Saraswati who asked Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Puri, what is this sentimentalism? You're just chanting Hare Krishna and all these sentiment people are dancing with you. Mahaprabhu said, this is what my spiritual master told me. always chant Hare Krishna. And I'm not so qualified to read the scriptures or understand the Vedanta Sutra. Jnane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam. Ultimately, we have to give up this Gyan process. We have to come to the heart process. The heart process is bhakti, with love and devotion. So yes, it is easier said than done. It's easier said than done. But the process given by Srila Prabhupada is very amazing. The Abhideya, the shelter that he has provided to this whole world. If we are just simply engaged in this loving service, and there's so much service, then we can keep this mentality, let me just mind my own business and serve this most wonderful mission to the best of my capacity, then we are very nicely situated. It's a wonderful program. It's too wonderful. The Mangalarti, the whole temple program. I mean, it's never happened before. If you look at the history, to establish this in so many countries all over the world, it's amazing. Just follow this simple program and mind our own business. Sometimes because of managerial issues, we may have to mind someone else's business also. But when we go internal, there's a lot of business we have to mind. Internally, when the holy name is manifesting, then we come to know how insignificant we are, filled with so many material desires. The dirt of past lives. There's so much inside. So then we cry out, then we come to the humble position. Krishna. There's unlimited stuff inside. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, Ashesha Kamana Riddhi Maje Mor. Ashesha Kamana, Ashesh is unlimited desires are Riddhi Maje Mor. They are dancing in my heart, making me do so many things. And one song he says, Ashara Shesha Naide. It's almost like as if there is no end to these desires. By the grace of the devotees, by grace of Srila Prabhupada, we can spiritualize our desires. This wonderful process itself, doing the Bhagavad Gita every day, this class. There's a quotation about cleanliness by the Gita Mahatmyam. And Srila Prabhupada mentions this. Maline mochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitamitam snanam samsara malanashanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water. But if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. So I'm just reminding my dull mind that this is so wonderful. Because familiarity is the demon. Oh, it's just the Gita, it's just the Bhagavatam, we are doing this every day. But just see the benedictions. This is how actually devotees may not understand it, but they are actually living in a different world. What's going on outside, it's just madness. But the material has to deal with on a daily basis. But because of being in touch with the holy name, the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, the most beautiful deities, this wonderful program, there's something very wonderful happening. Of course, the cleansing is going on, and Vrindavan Dham is intense. It has its magnifying power, and it's all progressive. But at the same time, it's wonderful. I was sharing with one devotee about Sri Vrindavan Dham. And I was I was sharing with him that it's just like a mirror showing you what's inside the heart. But at the same time, it's like the hot sugar cane. It's hot, but there is some sweetness that is giving shelter, which we are, Srila Prabhupada is giving that mercy, that shelter, that is driving us to just be here. At the same time, whenever the time comes and Srila Prabhupada wishes that we go out, and that's his order, that's when we take up his order. Kabe jiva doya, hoive udoya, nija sukha bhuli sudina hridoya. As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying in the song, Kabe habe bolo sudinama. Kabe jiva doya. When will actual compassion for all living entities actually awaken in my heart? Kabe jiva doya hoive udaya. How will that happen? Nija sukha bhuli. I will forget my own happiness. I will be completely oblivious to my own happiness. Sudina hridaya. Bhakti vinoda karya vinaya. Shri agyata hal kvarive praja. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is crying out. Karya vinaya. Shri agyata hal. When will I be able to follow that divine order? What was the divine order? Which divine order is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioning there? Yes, given by the spiritual master, which is originally given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. Right? Go door to door and request everybody, chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So undoubtedly it's a little difficult to stay clean in this Kali Yuga. Externally there is contamination, pollution. Now we have the internet buzzing our brain with 2G, 3G, 4G networks. Right? Kale dosha nide rajan asti eko mahadguna kirtana deva krishna se mukta sangha param bhaje. This Kali Yuga is undoubtedly an ocean of faults. Difficult to stay clean. Dirt is very sticky. But by the serious, sincere chanting of the holy name, following this wonderful program by Srila Prabhupada, by the spiritual master, we can keep ourselves sheltered from the onslaught of this day and age. I got a quote from Srila Prabhupada about this dirt in the material mind. It's very inspiring, so I thought of sharing it with all of you. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 15, verse 29, purport. Material desires in the mind are the trash of material contamination. I'll read it again. Material desires in the mind are the trash of material contamination. By such contamination, the living being is faced with so many compatible and incompatible things that discourage the very existence of spiritual identity. This is Srila Prabhupada. The words which bring about a revolution in the misdirected lives of this civilization. So what is our spiritual identity? Yes. Jivera Swarup hai, Krishna Nityadas. So why am I not acting on that platform? Srila Prabhupada is saying something is discouraging. What is that discouragement? these material desires, which are actually just the trash of material contamination. And they are so called, creating compatible and incompatible situations. And that is discouraging the very existence of our spiritual identity. I thought it's powerful. It's something wonderful. So anyway, I had just these few thoughts to share with all of you. Thank you for very kindly listening.
Can you say a few words about Acharyapasana?
Acharyapasana. Yes.
First part.
Yes. In one sense, Acharya Upasanam, we can look at it in two ways, especially in our most wonderful society. One is that we are blessed with the founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. That's the safety. And undoubtedly we have our wonderful spiritual masters who are sincerely following in his footsteps. So, what is the best way to worship? Upasana means worship. What is the best way to worship the spiritual master? In other words, which is the best way to please the spiritual master? Following his instructions. Following his instructions. And that's what distinguishes the more mature devotees. They are more attached to the Vani. Undoubtedly, the Vapu is very rare. We must strive for the Vapu, the personal association of the spiritual master, and try to get it as much as possible till he is present. He is always present, but at least physically to our eyes. But the Vani, taking that into heart and actually following that, that's the higher stage. That's the more mature stage. So there is Acharya Upasanam. Oh, I am pressing the lotus feet. I am very close to my spiritual master. I am doing this, I am very, very, very personal, and you can be. So that's all wonderful, that's great. But what does the spiritual master really want out of you? What is his heart? What is his mood? What is his mission? To catch that and serve that. I think that's a more mature.
Srila Prabhupada always gave thanks to the devotees for helping him carry out the mission of his spiritual master. He thought of that as the most important thing in his life. And so, as he, so should we.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
There are several definitions of humility. That was a very nice definition. It is the generic definition.
Yes.
But on the other hand, which was in keeping in Prabhupada's mood, and I've said this before, I'm sorry if I keep on repeating myself, but one of my favorite definitions that Prabhupada had, which was told to me by Brahmananda many years ago. Humility means to be bold for Krishna. And that's what Srila Prabhupada was.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada was the most humble because he was the most bold for Krishna.
Jai.
And it is possible we should all follow in his footsteps. Come out of our comfort zones. In this temple, for example, we have thousands of pilgrims coming every day to our temple. So be bold and approach some of these nice people and say Hare Krishna to them or something to that effect, and make them feel welcome, make them feel like they would want to take part. in our process. Preaching is very simple. It's making friends with people.
Right.
So, in a humble way,
Okay.
not a preachy way.
Yes. Yes. It is amazing the point which you mentioned, Mataji, about Srila Prabhupada, the boldness. And that comes, I was also discussing this point with a few devotees, and the point that came up is that this is actually dynamic humility. Dynamic humility, like Hanumanji. He's a pure devotee of the Lord. Humility is fully there in him, but at the same time, he's attacking Lanka and creating, it's looking like great violence, but he's on the humble platform. So this is in our bloodline. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was praying for the ambassador from the spiritual world, like someone who will take to the offensive. The jivas in this material world are always on the defensive because Maya is so overwhelming. But here comes the Simha Guru, and he takes it to the offensive. And in what an amazing way.
That's called non-violence.
It's all non-violence. Yes. it's the most humble position at the same time. There's an amazing quote by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he says, this line just struck me. He said, the Gaudiya Math stands for the dignity of the human race. To protect that dignity, to give the jiva its rightful, that Krishnera Nitya Das position, to facilitate that in this material world in such a beautiful way, to actually bring the Golok Vrindavan model to this planet and make it possible. I mean, it's something wonderful. That's where our pride is, our acharyas, our parampara. So Mataji said, boldness is the humility. Any other comments, Mataji, please?
This is not just armchair religion. There should be some discussion. Something should be going on upstairs. Some of you are capable of giving classes, so give some kind of comment. What do you remember, as Borijan would say, what do you remember of the class? Something. I guess everybody agrees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.